vote tonight. Our MSAD 52 board members include Jill Hutchinson, Megan Boyd, Yuri Kowalski, Crystal Barris, Carlos Knipp, Jessica Nichols, Elizabeth Bullard, Richard Gross, and Joanne Nickerson. Before we get too far along, I'd like to point out that the fire exits are the two doors in the back, and of course you go straight out from there. We also have this door to the side, and I thank everyone for not smoking on school property. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I will read the preamble. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify the voters of each of the municipalities within the district.
I'd make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the preamble and move directly to Article 1A.
Second.
Second, Carlos? Okay. If there are no objections from the floor, we will move to Article 1A, which is to choose a moderator. Nominations for moderator are open. Each nomination will require a second, and a motion to cease nominations will be entertained and in order as soon as nominations are made. Do we have a nomination for moderator? From Boothby?
Second.
Okay.
Move that nomination cease. Second.
All right, so we have a nomination and we have a motion and a second to cease nominations. We do need the moderator to be elected by a minimum of 2 written ballots. Those residents wishing to cast your ballot may do so now.
We're just way too efficient for ballot.
Clint Boothby has been elected moderator for this evening.
Okay, bear with me a minute, folks. I got to swear in the ballot clerks. just have all those formalities, partly to build up some suspense, to get you all ready for what's ahead. Okay, a couple of instructions before we get started. They tell me that folded ballots will not be counted. There's at least one vote tonight that has to be done by written ballot, and so don't fold your ballot. Also, I will ask the floor if there are any objections to two individuals here, the superintendent and business person, who may be answering questions who are not residents of the Turner. If anyone has any objection, let me know and we'll take a vote. Can we do that by unanimous consent? It appears that we have. And I'd like to introduce Ms. Bullard, who is the chair of the board. Thank you. You don't have to give remarks. I just wanted to introduce you. Before we start the ballot tonight, and the way we're going to do this is I'm going to read the whole question, and I'll ask for a motion, a second, comments, questions, direction, anything anyone wants to say, and then we'll take a vote. But before we do that, I want to take just a minute to recognize the women and men in education in the state of Maine, and particularly in your district. Everybody, from the teachers, the administrators, the support folks, secretaries, bus drivers, janitors, school board members, people have worked extraordinarily hard in a pandemic year to provide education for the kids in this district and across the state. It has been an extraordinary event for these folks. They have done things that they never dreamed they'd have to do in order to provide education. And we should all, as citizens of the state, be grateful to them for the work they've done. And so I would just ask you to join me in giving a hand to the folks who provide education in this district. Okay. Now let's get down to the business of the evening. The first articles that we're going to go through are the articles that authorize the expenditures in cost centers. Article number 1, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The school board recommends $11,270,862.31. Is there a motion? I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Comments, questions, discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I am very concerned about critical race theory and the project 1690. Is this where I address that?
It actually is not. This is just strictly about about authorizing the expenditures of funds in the district. That would be, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, something that you would take before the school board and address a concern that you might have about how instruction is provided in the district.
Okay, so I don't know, I won't know from this if they are including something like that in the instruction for next year.
That is correct. I see.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Other comments, questions, discussion? Yes.
Is it possible for the people that are motioning in second to give their name or at least raise their hand? I believe I need to list their names. Superintendent Brand, is that correct?
Yes, so thank you, Teresa. So Evan made the first motion, and I did not catch the second.
There's a gentleman in the back way up there.
Mr. Hathaway? Second.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Those opposed, motion carries. Article number 2, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for special education. The school board recommends $6,351,091.09. Is there a motion? We have a second over here. Do you want me to have them identify by name, or are you
I'm
see?
set.
Okay.
No, thank you. I just can't, I couldn't tell where the sound was
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Comments, questions, discussion? Ever let it be said that I silence debate? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article number 3, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. The school board recommends $0. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second down here. Comments, questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 4, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for other instruction. The school board recommends $596,211.09. Is there a motion? I have a motion. I have a second. Comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 5, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The school board recommends $2,269,088.48. Is there a motion? I have a motion. I have a second. Comments, questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 6, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for system administration. The school board recommends $693,350.12. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion? Got a second? Comments, questions? Anyone? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 7, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for school administration. Did I just read that? No, I didn't just read that, right? The school board recommends $1,737,586.01. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Comments, questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 8, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for transportation in buses. The school board recommends $2,146,320.26. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Comments, questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 9, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The school board recommends $2,820,340.92. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion? Do I have a second? I have a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? The motion carries. Article 10, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The school board recommends $306,585. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Got a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 11, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures, and the school board recommends $113,880. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second? I have a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, Articles 12 through 15, this is to raise the funds for the proposed budget. Article 12, to see what sum the district will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Act and to see what sum the district will raise and assess each municipality's contribution as the total of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Service Funding Act in accordance with Maine Revised Statutes Title 20-A, Section 15688. The school board recommends as follows, and I'm going to read these off by municipality so you can follow them if you have the page in front of you. For the town of Greene, the total amount appropriated $7,656,067.33, and the total to be raised is $2,738,798.33. For the town of Leeds, to be appropriated $4,224,116.10. For the town of Leeds, assessments $1,481,250. For the town of Turner, the amount to be appropriated $11,014,754.77. And for the town of Turner, the amount to be assessed $3,994,503.33, which is a total appropriated of $22,894,938.20, and the total raised is $8,214,551.66. The state provides a mandated explanation, and I will read that to you. The district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, is the amount of money determined by state law to be the minimum amount the district must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? The motion carries. Article 13, local debt obligation, to see what sum the district will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the district voters for non-state funded school construction projects or non-state funded portions of school construction projects, in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12, and the school board recommends $306,585. And before we take a motion, there's a state mandated explanation for this. The non-state funded debt service is the amount of money needed for the annual payments on the district's long-term debt for major capital school construction projects that are not approved for state subsidy. The bonding of this long-term debt was previously approved by district voters. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Comments, questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? The motion carries. Article 14, food service program, to see what sum the district will raise and appropriate to transfer to the school nutrition program, and the school board recommends $50,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Article 15 is the one that requires the written ballot. So let me read down through it, and then we will ask you to vote and deposit your ballot in an orderly manner over here in this ballot box over this side. Additional local funds, to see what sum the district will raise and appropriate in additional local funds, and the board recommends $4,304,752, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation by $4,304,752 as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. The school board recommends the sum of $4,304,752, which exceeds the essential programs and services allocation model by $4,304,752. The school board gives the following reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model. The district costs are not fully funded in the essential program services and funding model. The items include, but are not limited to, advanced placement courses, co and extracurricular costs, technology coordinator, maintenance and operation costs of operating our own sewer plant here, inadequate special education funding, including the high cost of out-of-district placements. The state requires this explanation. The additional local funds are those locally raised funds over and above the district's local allocation to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Program and Services Funding Act, and local amounts raised for the annual payment or non-state funded debt service that will help achieve the district budget for educational programs. So, do we have a motion? And do we have a second? We have a motion and a second, so we'll have comments or questions if anyone has any, and then if not, we'll vote. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I would ask you to cast your vote in the voting box over here. So everyone who wanted to cast a vote had an opportunity to do so. Okay, we'll count the ballot. The yeas are 15, the nays 0. The motion carries. Article 16, this summarizes the proposed school budget. To see what sum the district will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending July 30, 2022 from the district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under Maine Revised Statute Title 20-A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidies, and other receipts for the support of schools. The school board recommends $28,305,315. Is there a motion? A motion? Of a second. Comments, questions, or discussion?
Before, you read the dates wrong on the other date.
Oh, I'm sorry.
July 31st.
Let me just clarify the date so we know what we're voting on. It's July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022. Did I get it right that time? Okay, sorry about that, folks. That raise any questions and for anyone, any other, that's the fiscal year, basically, of the state of Maine and of the school district. Hearing no questions, those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 17 authorizes transfers between cost centers. Shall the school board be authorized to transfer amounts exceeding 5% of the total appropriation for any cost center to another cost center or among cost centers for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, provided that the transfer shall not be permitted to increase the authorized total school budget? And the school board recommends yes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions?
Modify your years, said 21, 22.
It is 20.
The fiscal year 2021 through 2022, just a single year. My eyes are glazing over apparently as I get closer to the end of this.
No, it's printed wrong.
It's printed wrong. Yeah, you were accurate.
Okay, so but to clarify, we're talking about a single, you're not approving this beyond this fiscal, the upcoming fiscal year. All right, any further questions, clarifications? Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 18 authorizes the adult education program. Shall the district be authorized to appropriate $390,844.86 for adult education and raise $164,210 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program? The school board recommends a yes vote. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I have a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? The motion carries. And Article 19, Technology Capital Reserve Fund. So the school board be authorized to transfer up to $50,000 from available fund balances to the Technology Capital Reserve Fund, and the school board recommends a yes vote on this. Is there a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second. Comments or questions? Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this evening's warrant. It is appropriate that we adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Do we have a second? Those in favor of the motion? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I recognize Carlos and Richard's voice and your voice, but then other people were just like, I know, and I was be prepared.
So we appear to be at the immediately following the district budget vote point in our evening, and so I would like to call to order the 19th regular meeting of the Board of Directors of SAD 52, and if Yuri could lead us in the pledge, that would be most appreciated. Thank you. Our first order of business will be to act on the minutes of April 8th, the 18th regular meeting. Any errors or omissions noted? Seeing none, we can accept those under general consent. That brings us to communications. Kim.
Thank you, Betsy. I would like to report the following resignations. Tyler Hunt, Turner Elementary School teacher, effective at the end of this year. Catherine Ludwig, Levitt Area High School Transition Support Special Education teacher, also at the end of this school year. And Michelle Coates, business manager, effective June 4th.
Thank you. Brings us to adjustments, the agenda.
Yes, we have a few things here. I request that we move agenda items 9.10 and 9.11 before agenda item 9.4. Also, Okay, also, for item 5.6, administrators will not be reporting out this evening. They have been excessively busy bringing students back for increased in-person instruction. And also, I would like to remove item 9.8, which is the executive session for TTEA. We do not need that this evening.
Were there any, I didn't see any indications that there were any objections to moving 910 and 911 before 9.4? Teresa's waving.
Sorry, I'm not objecting. Are we also removing 9.9? Is that the action after 9.8?
Yes, that would be
Yes,
appropriate.
please.
Okay, thank you.
That brings us to committee reports. Finance, Yuri.
We did meet this evening, and we reviewed February, March, and April financial reports. Currently, as expected, or as we've discussed, we're a little bit behind on expenditures, and largely impacted by the reduced things that are happening around the schools and people that are in the schools, but everything is tracking well, and we seem like we're in good shape.
Thank you. Plant, transportation, and building, that would be me. We have not met. Michelle, are we planning to meet before our next
meeting. Yep.
before our next meeting? So stay tuned for that one. Curriculum policy, Joanne.
Curriculum policy met, but I wasn't there. So maybe Richard's reaching for a microphone. I think he's going to update you.
We did meet on Tuesday, April 13th, and discussed 6 policies. And I'll quickly run through those. One was student surveys and marketing information. We are referring that to the state for some more research, which Teresa and her staff are going to be doing. One was, another policy was GCQD, acceptance of resignation by the superintendent. We're eliminating that item, that policy. The student dress code, which is policy JICA, this is going to be reviewed with the school principals, with superintendent, MSMA, and other schools. Policy ECB has to do with pest management in school facilities and on school grounds. And we are using our policy, not an MSMA policy, which we looked at, and we are eliminating from that policy the ECBR, which is the regulations, which we don't need. Policy EEA is bus driver examination, and this has got to be reviewed in due to the needs of van drivers. Policy EEAEAA, drug and alcohol testing of school bus drivers. We're keeping that as it is, and the regulation that goes with it as well. And I think that's all of them that we looked at.
Thank you. Student representatives report, Olivia.
No, that's okay. So first, I just have a couple general updates about student activities. One is that the details for prom are being finalized. Students are really excited that they're getting the opportunity to attend. Especially as seniors didn't receive a junior prom last year because of COVID. They're really looking forward to that. The class officers are working with the prom committee and Mr. Shaw to finalize those details. And that event will be taking place on May 22nd. Key Club is organizing our final service project. We're raising funds and goods for the Greater Androscoggin Humane Society. So that will be taking place during the next 2 weeks. And lastly, I just want to announce this is going to be my final board meeting. So I wanted to thank Mr. Shaw and Ms. Brandt for giving me the opportunity to serve on the board, and to the board for welcoming me. I really appreciate it, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity.
Thanks, Olivia, for all of your good information that you've brought us as a board. It's definitely very helpful for us, and I'm sure the folks watching at home as well, to get a student perspective, especially in a year like this. So thanks again, and all the best as you move on to exciting things. 5.5, non-teaching negotiations, AFSCME and ESP. Jessica.
For AFSCME, we did have a Zoom meeting on 4/27 to go over the initial proposal from the AFSCME group. We have an executive session later on to discuss that with the full board. And ESP is not yet met, but we do have our first negotiating meeting set up for Monday, May 10th, so we will be reporting out on that later.
So that was actually Carlos reporting out. I was thinking Jessica's voice had gotten awfully deep this evening, but thank you. Administrator's report, as Kim indicated, I think folks have been a little bit on the busy side the last few days, so thank you for all the work that's gone on and continues to. That brings us to the superintendent's report. Kim.
Two of our instructional coaches, Elaine Gammon at TPS and Mallory Murphy at TES, will be teaching a graduate level literacy course beginning next fall through UMaine. It will be an excellent opportunity for our TPS and TES staff who want to hone skills and earn credits. This is just one more way our instructional coaches are supporting staff to improve student learning. More information to come. We are getting closer to being able to access the American Rescue Plan elementary and secondary school emergency relief funding. I've been referring to that as ESSER 3. So we're getting close to that. I'm anticipating that I will be getting a survey tomorrow, all superintendents should, asking for information about our model, meaning hybrid, how many days in, things like that, as well as questions around attendance and how many students we have who are fully remote. We are expecting approximately $2.4 million in ESSER 3, and about 20, or not about, exactly 20% of that money will need to be dedicated to learning recovery. And we will be reporting out further when we know that we have access to those funds. This is a moment to celebrate and to thank our principals, our teachers, and our staff for all of the thoughtful and thorough planning that they have done, and for embracing yet another huge change, or about 100 of them at least, in order to increase instructional time. So as you know, our principals were working with their staffs before April vacation to figure out if it was feasible to bring more students in. Everybody really teamed up for that, and after April vacation, we were able to bring in quite a few more students for 4 days a week. Reports are that students are doing well. Principals feel that staff are doing a great job of embracing all these changes. We are looking every single day at what else we might want to do, tweaks we might want to make, but I do think it speaks to the tremendous amount of thoughtful planning, that the changes that need to be made are small, and they are minimal and minor, really, because so much planning was done ahead of time. So we are really happy that now we are supporting students academically and their social emotional needs, most of them for 4 days a week. And students who need support for mental health issues can now get that. And best of all, I think, is that we have the answer to those students who have been struggling with remote learning. So it is just a wonderful thing that has happened. We continue to do close contact tracing. The communication is at a very high level about that. Again, reports are very, very positive about this change in the schools. I also would like to thank Olivia. Olivia, you have had some great questions. I know one night in particular that I remember at the TMS gym when I just wanted to sit down at the table with you and just start talking. You had questions that were the same questions that we have been discussing, and it was helpful to hear from your perspective what you and your colleagues at schools were experiencing. It brought a lot of richness and a lot of good thinking. So thank you for all of your effort and for asking those hard questions. They're helpful. And I do wish you the best. I'll miss you next year.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
very brave to set the microphone down, given that the strange noises keep coming back every now and then. But I would just echo the superintendent's comments on in appreciation of all the hard work that went into getting more kids in school more days. That's no small task, as everything has been this year. So thank you for all that work and making sure our kids keep moving forward. So that's pretty amazing, really. That brings us to public comment. Any public wishing to comment? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Pat Jacobs, and I live in Turner. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
I have a question, and I need direction. I am very, very concerned in the way our country is headed, especially education. Now, I have a lot of trust in you because you've always been pretty much normal and do a good job with our schools. But I want to make sure about something, and I'm very worried about the critical race theory that is being spread through the schools, not here in Maine yet, I don't think, but in other states. And also Project 1619 being spread in the high schools. I don't know, I talked to a legislator the other night, and she told me that there has been a bill. I don't know if it's been passed, but it's coming down, and I do not want to see that happen in our school. We are blind to what color anybody is anywhere, I think, especially in SAD 52. Everybody has a chance, and they are respected on their merit and their character, not their color. So I don't know if that's my pet peeve, and I'm just checking you out. Should I come to a school board meeting about this, or where do I go to find out what's happening?
Well, I think indicating your concern in public comment is absolutely the perfect way to start as far as that conversation is concerned. And typically, how the board handles public comment is receiving said comment, and then as the superintendent is able, or assistant superintendent is able to either look into or provide more information to the board and embed that in future discussions. But I think your speaking during public comment certainly registers that as part of tonight's official meeting and will be recorded as a concern as well.
Should I follow this up then, to come to a school board meeting, or it might not be brought up then, or?
If it's a specific agenda item for discussion, we would certainly reach out to you and make sure that you knew. I mean, all of our meeting agendas are public, but certainly if it's an issue that we knew somebody had a particular concern about, that we could reach out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Any other public wishing to comment? If not, we'll move on to old business, which we seem to not have any of this evening. That brings us to the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion for the list. And that was Carlos and Richard. All those in favor? Unanimous. That brings us to new business. And item 9.1 is to act on the reappointment of the following for the 21-22 school year. And I'm trying to think back, we typically do these each as individual items versus the entirety, correct?
Yes.
So for example, 9.1.1 probationary contract, second year would require a motion in a second.
Second.
We have the Carlos and Richard. All those in favor? Unanimous. 9.1.2, probationary contract teachers, third year.
So moved.
Second.
Carlos and Richard. All those in favor? Unanimous. And 9.1.3, first continuing teachers.
So moved.
Second.
Carlos and Richard. All those in favor? Unanimous. Brings us to instructional nominations. I would turn that over to Superintendent Brandt.
Okay. What's that?
Do you want to just do that? Sure.
Okay, the first nomination is for Lindsay DeWitt, and Principal Marston writes that Lindsay comes from a family of educators. She recently returned to her home state in Maine after living and teaching in Florida for many years. Lindsay has teaching experience from pre-K through 6th grade, and most recently she was a grade 4 teacher. In Florida, she worked as a certified mentor, supporting incoming teachers as well as overseeing student teachers. Her references describe her as a team player who has excellent communication skills, is student-centered, and data-driven. We are very happy to nominate Lindsay DeWitt for teaching position at TES. The second nomination is a nomination for Megan Botelio. This is also for TES, and Principal Larson writes that Megan is an experienced teacher who comes to us with a lot of literacy interventionist work behind her. She has been a grade 4 and grade 5 teacher. Her references describe her as having a love of literacy that is contagious in the classroom culture. She's highly skilled at progress monitoring, data tracking in order to drive instruction, which results in student learning growth. Another strength of Megan's is her ability to develop a positive rapport with those students and parents. TES is thrilled to have Megan join our team, and I would say that both Principal Marston and I had the opportunity to work with this particular candidate in another district, so we are very excited that she's now coming to MSAD 52. And the third nomination is for Green Central School, and that is Wendy Anderson. And Principal Parker writes that the GCS interview committee is pleased to recommend Wendy Anderson for the position of resource room teacher at Green Central School. Ms. Anderson has extensive special education experience working in a number of positions in both Maine and New Hampshire, supporting students with a broad array of needs. Ms. Anderson has worked as a special education teacher at Edward Fenn Elementary School in Warren, New Hampshire most recently. And I know when I was in my interview with her, that it's wonderful to see how student-centered she is, how very interested she is with a lot of different strategies. She has a very big toolbox. So I agree that we are very happy to nominate Mrs. Anderson for this position at GCS.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Carlos and Richard. All those in favor? Unanimous. That brings us to item 9.3, and that is approval of gift cards, $50 value, and 20 gift certificates donated to Green Central School.
So moved.
Second.
It's Carlos and Richard. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. And this is where we have an adjustment, so we would take up item 9.10, and that is the approval of February, March, and April operating and expenditure reports.
So moved.
Second.
Carlos and Richard. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor? That brings us to item 9.11, and this is nomination of business manager. I'm going to turn this over to Kim.
The search committee is very happy to nominate Dean Flanagan for the business manager position beginning on July 1st this year. Dean brings 24 years of business manager experience in the public school setting, and his responsibilities have included overseeing facilities, transportation, and food service, working with adult education, and coordinating safety work in the schools. References describe Dean as very knowledgeable about all aspects of the business manager role, as well as about how schools run and schools' needs. He is also described as collaborative, collaborative, approachable, organized, and a professional who steps up to support and accomplish what must be done. Dean has strong skills in human resources, including supervision of staff, and I believe Dean will be an excellent fit as a business manager in MSAD 52.
Do we have a motion in support of the nomination?
Betsy, what? I didn't get his name.
Dean Flanagan.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Carlos and Richard, any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Michelle is going to be missed tremendously, but certainly this is an exciting add for the district as well. So our remaining agenda items, if I am reading the agenda accurately, which is hopefully the case, are executive sessions that deal with TTEA negotiations, also deal with AFSCME negotiations, and deal with the assignment of officials, appointees, employees pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A. Are there any other items of business that we need to take up while we are in open session and we have an ordinance? If not, I would entertain a motion for 9.4, and that is a request for an executive session to discuss the TTEA ESP negotiations pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056D.
So moved. Second.
And that's Carlos and Richard. All those in favor? Unanimous? So we will